Hong Kong, and we will also try and get in contact with the boss of Godolphin, Andy Mackiff, about what the next chapter now looks like for the Blue Army here in Australia. We'll have all the regulars, Gators game plan. We've got the trial tracker as well, and of course we've got all your Thursday winners. Give the Bet365 Bet Boost strength. We're on the favourite in the last at Ballarat on the synthetic, which is, of course, also clear. Don't go anywhere. More winners coming up. Plenty of news and fun as well with the grey areas. Jason Adams, George Ferrugia, and then...
Every year, we help
Sorry about that.
people like you.
As I said, getting late in the shift. Go ahead. Carry on.
I've spoken enough, obviously. The music has sounded. Get off! I'll see you tomorrow from 8:30.
We caught up with Sean Manor from the Cats. They've got the Bombers at the MCG on Saturday. He's 22 games into his career, mature age recruit, going beautifully, and he took us into the secrets that are the Cats and why they've been so successful for 20 years.
The expectations are always top 4 finals, so obviously very confident we could go back and get back to that stage.
Thursday's going to be an absolute beauty. Cannot wait to catch up with Mark Leishman, getting ready for Oakmont for the US Open this week in the water golf. You'll catch him just after 7 o'clock. Nathan Thompson's going to join us, getting ready for round 14 of the AFL. And Kane Farrell will join us from the Power as well. We'll catch you from 6.
Breakfast with Half on RSN Racing and Sport.
The Kia Sorento set the bar as Kia's most popular small sedan. Now, the new first ever Kia K4 raises it. Best in class, second row legroom, ultra wide screens, and a GT line that comes turbocharged. Enter Kia's biggest small sedan, the Kia K4. Small sedan, big personality. Test drive today or find out more at kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Winning Post is Australia's greatest selling racing paper. On sale nationally from the crack of dawn every Friday. Featuring comprehensive lift-out form guides for Friday, Saturday and Sunday meetings. And the hugely popular white waste rating for all races. And great yarns and feature articles. Great value too at just $6. Pick up Australia's favourite racing newspaper from your local newsagents or download the form from winningpost.com.au.
Saturday morning's finest double. The First Word and the Melbourne Form Panel, thanks to Unibet. Thomas Noonan gets the word from the stables and trainers in the First Word from 7 a.m. Then from 8, the heavyweight Melbourne Panel. The form, tips, smart plays and cracking best bets from Mark Hunter, David Gately and Warren Huntley. What a start to your Saturday punt. The First Word and the Melbourne Form Panel from 7 a.m. on RSN Racing and Sport.
On RSN Racing and Sport, it's time for the grey areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
That kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Grey Areas. It is Pink Diamond Week as we look forward to a big meeting at Geelong this Friday night. My name's Jason Adams. Joined by the man with the biggest and best social calendar in Victoria, the Maltese magician, Georgie Ferrugia.
Good afternoon, mate.
How are you? Have you defrosted from our experience on Sunday?
We thawed out. It was bloody cold, that water.
It was so fresh. Slowly adjusting to the body clock I am after a public holiday on Monday. So
yes.
It's a hard life. John Henry, a big win by the Pies on Monday.
I forgot that you guys had done that, and kudos to you for doing that for the great charity.
We got to give it all to the manager at Healesville.
Yeah,
Peter
we'll
Frost.
touch on it later on in the show.
Okay, right. Good on you, boys. Yeah.
What about you, John? You're just having a nice little run at the moment. You went to the football. You seen?
No. I didn't get there in the end.
Oh, you didn't go?
No. But I was watching it, obviously. Yeah.
I was going to say that would have been awesome if you went, because that was one hell of a game of football. The Pies just keep rolling on.
What's your thoughts on the Dacos treatment, John?
Beg your pardon?
What's your thoughts on the treatment of Nick Dacos?
No problems there. They're Dacoses, mate. They're Dacoses. They'll be back. You can't ruffle the feathers of a Dacos. They're champions.
That was so good.
They're champions. What's better than having a Dacos in your team?
Once again,
having two.
Once again, the less decorated of the brothers just was brilliant.
Oh, absolutely.
Off half back.
He is
Should be in everyone's.
And Pete went down the slide as the Joker.
Yeah, that's right.
Champion.
Well, we know this week's going to go at snail's pace because we are very much looking forward to the Grey Areas Social Club gig on Sunday. We're going to the Mail Exchange Hotel. We're kicking off from midday, and we highlighted Kenny from Cranbourne last Friday. Now, he's locked in for the Malo.
Oh, is he?
On Sunday, George. So he's in. He's ready. If you do plan to come along, let us know. Text in on 0416 90 50 52. As George needs to know what sort of coin to put over the bar.
So what is there, 4 of us? It's the 3 of us and one person?
Confirmed. It's confirmed. There might be some sleeping giants out there.
This is about where we thought we'd be tracking
The
at this
silent
stage.
majority.
I think we can wrangle up a few more, mate. Absolutely. Got a text message through, Jay. Should we start here and then go on?
Yep.
G'day, guys. How good was Chief Dribble in the New Zealand Silver Collar? Been an absolute star over there. Just couldn't quite get the job done, but gallant in defeat. I thought Johnny Football had his chance. He certainly did. My bloke just couldn't run it out couldn't back up to run 780 metres, so he definitely had his chance. Chief Dribble looked the winner at stages, but then another greyhound came over the top and beat them all for a greyhound trainer who's only 20 years of age. That's a fair thrill to win New Zealand's biggest race, really.
It's a big thrill and also sad at the same time, given the situation over there at the moment. And
yeah, so
future
there's
ambitions,
one left, right?
Future ambitions.
There's pretty much one silver collar left, unless there's a change. Not sure how that's going, but I think they're trying.
They're having a crack.
Yeah, but anyway.
Having a crack. Not sure there's more to go into about that. All right, let's move on. Now, we've got to address something that is of great concern on this show. Now, we had a bit of a social bet last Friday, with nothing on the line, mind you, about what time Flying Zulu would run at the Meadows on Saturday night. So I don't know if we put an asterisk on it that he needs to win the race, George.
Well, we should do that now because that's
we should do it now because what's happened is John Henry's the nearest to the pin with the time that Flying Zulu ran on Saturday night. So
was it really?
As a lead expert of grey areas, John, you need to step up at some point with the remainder of these forms.
This is what I'm saying. I think he's in career best form at the moment, Henry. And look,
that was just I have to be honest. Was I the nearest? Well,
I've only says more about the way you and I are going, Jason.
then I've only, let's be honest, I've only jagged that. That was just
it's okay.
That was just luck.
He's in good form.
You're a genius,
apparently
mate.
He'll show that form on Sunday for the social.
Yes,
meeting.
we're expecting a big performance. We might do a form preview for that. For a social gig on Sunday.
Absolutely.
That would be entertaining.
A couple of best bets.
All right, let's move on to some of the racing happening at this point in time. From a review point of view, George, we go back to Q2 Parklands on Saturday night and the win of Sooty Keeping in Flying Amy. The first Group 1 run at the Q, and I'm pretty happy for Shane Stiff, his owner and normal trainer, as opposed to Tony Brett being the caretaker trainer at the moment. But he invests a lot in the sport. He's passionate. He gets involved in things that have potential to take the sport further. So I was happy from that point of view, but the performance of Sooty Keeping was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. He's probably got the best Hawaiian shirts going around in the industry as well when he rocks up to these big meetings.
And you know what? Anyone would think of him wearing those Hawaiian shirts would not give a rat's clacker. That's the type of person Stiffy is.
Yeah, good win. She was gutsy. That was a good field, Jace. And there was speed drawn all around. I thought she was going to be hard to beat. Gambella just sort of didn't get it right early, and that's the concern with her. But she's a star as well. But Sooty Keeping continues on. She's got a very, very good winning strike rate, and she was just too good for them on Saturday night. And from all reports from the people I've spoken to, the night was fantastic. The official opening night of Q2. They've got a meeting there coming up later this month where they're racing on both tracks. So for anyone that hasn't seen it,
At the one time, I
think the dining area's in the middle, right, Jason? Tracks are on either side of the dining area.
Yeah, there's glass on either side, so you're not obscured from sort of part of it.
So the circle track's not, like you need glasses to see it. I think it's absolutely fantastic, the setup. So, bigger and better things for Q going forward.
Yep, and before we move on from action in Queensland at the moment, they've got their State of Origin series on Thursday night where there's a sprint race, there's a distance race, and there's also a match race where it's State of Origin, New South Wales versus Queensland. So it's a great concept, George, and the quality is pretty good as well. I think in the past it has been one-sided at times, and of course that's comes and goes given staying ranks and whatever, with Palawa King dominating for a period of time. But good lineup in those races, and particularly the match race between Jungle Johnny and Blue Blend.
Yeah, before we get to that, Jason, the one that I'm really keen on as well is Autumn Storm versus Zigzag Man. We've spoken about this greyhound a few times over 500 metres. He's made the step up to over 600 metres and his times are elite. So that battle between those two, and Lady Wilson in the race as well, is fantastic. And then obviously Sooty Keeping's back with the former track record holder Drink Tins, Good Odds Cobber.
What a name.
That's That is a terrific race. Yeah, great name, Drink Tins. But the match race, and you and I think anyone who listens to the show knows that we are huge fans of this format of the sport. Blue Blend, for those that haven't seen him, is the current track record holder, and his racing style lends himself to these sort of formats. But so does Jungle Johnny's, really. Jason, I've put my hand up and said that I think he's top 5 greyhound in this country in terms of ability, and he gets an opportunity to show that off box 1. Race 9 at 9:25. If you're watching the footy, just click over and watch that race. It's going to be fantastic.
And the Brisbane Cup Preludes, there's a couple of those tomorrow night, which
a couple of
I know the one
Victorians.
you're engaged in is brilliant.
Yeah, Van Wyck's over there, and he's up against Gambella, Deadly Avenger, and Warm Cockles. That's a fair introduction to the Cube. The other race is very good too. Irish Bill, drawn beautifully off box 1, up against the likes of Born Model, of course, who took out the Sapphire Crown, now in the hands of course, the Prince.
The Prince.
Has got it. So watch out for those Brisbane Cup Preludes. We're really going to start heating up there at the Q.
Yep, and we love the different concepts as well. State of origin in this case, but anything that's a bit different in this game that's going to attract the common punter to take some sort of interest in greyhound racing can only be a good thing.
Yeah, we've got to chat about that, don't we, Jason? Because we need to attract the punter. You and I have harped on about it for a long time, but we need to see match racing back in Victoria in some form. And that's only one format. There's different. I think the Phoenix...
It's handicap racing, which I'm big on.
Yeah.
There's options. It's just investment,
yep,
which is the thing. All right, at the boxes for the third race at Sale. Favourite is the white Omega Penny. And let's get to the man who dressed up as Brian Taylor. Big bristle BT in his big freeze dunk on Sunday. Maybe we get a bit of BT slang or twang in this call. Here's James Vandermart, race 3 at Sale.
Wide. Omega Penny's got some decent race form when she gets it right, and Red Hot Money can begin and show nice early speed. So they're the 3 at the top of the tree market-wise. Then down to box number 8, which is Jovial Gem, who's a $9.50 chance. Last of them going in, and they're set to run now. Field loaded for race number 3 out of Sale. Stand by for a start. Often Racing and Red Hot Money jump well down low. Is going to zip straight through and take a clear lead to Omega Penny, who whips up to second placing, and they've gone 3 lengths clear over Jovial Gem, making ground. Chance O'Leary around the field. The rest of Gem right up. Warrior Bobby was in trouble with Speedy Bear, and at the end Lady Montana as they turn. Red Hot Money, Omega Penny being gobbled up by Chance O'Leary. Hitting the lead, Omega Penny. Chance O'Leary can't quite get there, and Omega Penny's lifted down the middle to win it by a half to Chance O'Leary. Just wanting to lay in late, about 4 lengths away, third Red Hot Money, then Jovial Gem. The other quartet were in bad bother. Lady Montana back with Warrior Bobby, Speedy Bear, and Lakeview April never came into play. 24 and 75 was the time. Omega Penny, number 3, has staved off Chance O'Leary, who walked out of the boxes, has come around the field very quickly, and then maybe just peaked a little bit on the run when turning for home, just wanting to lay in a little bit under pressure. And Omega Penny's been able to lift in the middle, and it'll take it out. So it's number 3 beating the 7 second. Third across the line will go to 2 Red Hot Money, and the 4th number to come after race number 3. 24 and 76 was the time. The interim numbers 3 from 7, from 2 from the 8. 24.
3, 7, 2 and 8. Those details at Sale after the third in just a moment. All 3 favourites have saluted there so far this afternoon. Now we're going back to Jason and George in just a moment to continue grey areas, but a couple of chores to do first. The Battle Rat races, of course, get underway very, very soon in about 11 or 12 minutes. At 12:25 this afternoon, here's Adam Crittenden with a preview of Ballarat.
Yes, thank you, John, and a very good afternoon from Ballarat. We did have some early morning fog, which was quite thick until about 10 o'clock this morning, but it has burned off now, so we've just got partly cloudy conditions. It's very calm today, so the wind is going to be no factor at all. And of course, this meeting was moved from the turf to the synthetic on Monday. So because of that, we've got generally small fields for the afternoon. There's no late scratchings for the day. Just checking a couple of riders. Race 3, number 13, Rhett is Tiani Chapman. Race 5, number 11, Hebridean Way. The rider we needed there is Matthew Cartwright. And race 6, number 6, Just Remember It, Jason Maskiel. That might bring you up to date with the jockeys that we needed for the day. My best is in the last this afternoon. Race 8, number 3, also clear. who's been consistent at this distance range for a little while. He's had the one previous start on this surface. You have to go back to the end of July or thereabouts last year to find it, but he did perform well in a 1,500 metre race, and as we've seen in his history since, he seems to be a bit better beyond 1,500. So at 2,100 today and dropping back from a benchmark 70 to a 64, he looks like getting a good run. He has the 1.5 kilo claim just to help that little bit more, and I think he'll be hard to beat there in the last event, race 8, number 3, also clear. The highlight runner of the day, I think, is race 4, number 1. Spirited Defence, who goes around off the back of recording some excellent sectionals to win his maiden at a good price here 3 weeks ago. 33.64 his last 600 there, which was scintillating. It was nearly a second faster than any other runner in that race, and it was the quickest of the day. So he's got to go up to the next level, and he's got to repeat what he did here 3 weeks ago. He's incredibly short in the market. He's not really a horse to be backing today, but he's a horse to be observing and seeing whether he can do it again. Race 4, number 1, Spirited Defence. Quaddie numbers this afternoon. First leg 4, 5, 10, 15. Second leg 1, 6, 8. Third leg 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we come home with just numbers 2 and 3. $120 is the starting point for the quaddie for the afternoon. But generally fine skies here at Ballarat. A cool day. We're on the synthetic, 8 events, and the first gets underway at 12.
It does, Adam, and thank you for the preview. And in that first event, the favourite is number 6, Bubbles Time with Bet365, currently at $3, Jayla Kennedy. Here's Mark Hunter, race 1 this morning.
Well, I'm confident that Absolutely is the best horse in the race. Now, would that translate to win here? I'm not sure, but it showed ability on debut down there at Geelong, got back light riding, ran okay, went to Caulfield in a race where Beldatel was in the race, if you don't mind. It just sat park, 3 wide, no cover, out-sprinted, then held its ground well through the line. It's been back, it's had 2 trials, it meets a weak field, and if it runs, I'm sure it's the best horse in the race. Whether it produces it today, I'm not so sure, but we'll go with it on ability. To beat number 9, Sweater Girl, who sat up on the pace without speed on debut. It's come back, it's trialled quite well. Then 3, Say It Zesty, didn't do much on debut, but the jump to 1,400 metres might suit. And 6, Bubbles Time, who's pretty basic. The fact it's favourite or near enough to it sums up the race. So I think 4 is the best horse in the race. 4, 9, 3 and 6.
4, 9, 3 and 6 from Mark in the first. Now, after the previous at the Greyhounds with James Vandermart, full result there, 3, 7, 2, 8. Number 3, Omega Penny, $3 and $1.87. Chance O'Leary, $1.60. 2, Red Hot Money, $1.60 and 8, Jovial Gem. The Quinella, $5.40. Exacta, $8.40. Trifecta, $35. First 4, $131. 3, 7, 2 and 8. And the running double 5 and 3 paid $5.50. Jason and George.
A few text messages coming through, Jason. We'll get through. First one, how much longer will Albion Park be around for? Regards, Jamie. There are short course races again this week. They were on last week. So you probably off-air made a good point that maybe once the straight track's operational at the Q, that might be curtains for Albion Park. They certainly don't race there over 500 anymore, I don't think.
I was of the opinion that Albion Park was gone once the queue opened up, but obviously still racing there. So it might have something to do with the straight track not being opened yet. But the theory was, for anyone out there unsure about the whole idea of the queue, is that the Olympics in Brisbane were going to take over the whole Albion Park precinct. So that's why they made plans to move out and come up with this centre of excellence at the queue.
Another text message.
But then there's been change of plans from the government in terms of the Olympics in Albion Park. So, I don't have the latest, that's for sure.
So they might... It's sort of, they're not in a rush to get out of there.
Changing every day.
Even though they're still running short races at on the Q1. So, I don't think it'll be around for much longer, Albion Park. Another SMS. You mentioned Flying Zulu. I can't understand the run. Unplaced at $1.20. No mention in Stewart's report. Looked to have every chance. Number ending in 426. What do you make of the run, Jace? He went 30 and 16 overall, which is clearly nowhere near his best. He did go 5-10 early. What do you think?
Well, I watched it this morning, and I think although he was unplaced, it wasn't an blatant unplaced sort of run. I mean, he got on the back of the leader, which was Natalie Bale. He was basically carved up for a run until the home straight where he hooked wide, and still he was colliding with the leaders. So, I don't think it's an inquiry of any sort of nature, but I do think that it doesn't happen enough, those sort of things, that when favourites run not to expectation, there isn't some sort of question. And if the answer is, I don't know, or he's a bit tired or we might drop him back in distance, whatever. But as long as that question's asked for favourites, and there has been times in the past where they might be 160, 180, lead and capitulate, you sort of think, well, is it hurt? Because there has been times where they haven't been vetted either. So I don't think this is
wasn't the case.
No, absolutely not a case, in my opinion, on Saturday night. But there are occasions where it is.
I think the only thing he did wrong was not utilise the great box draw, to be honest. Get out and go like we know he can. He won a Harrison Dawson coming from a wide draw. So, yeah, you forgive the run for such a talented greyhound. Another text message. We're getting an RSVP here from Arman. No, just confirming, Kenny from Cranbourne. Jason, George and John, I'm listening in. Follow the dogs. Brother-in-law Doug Sheridan, who trained from Talbot, recently retired. One of his dogs was Sunshine Gold, who won some nice races in the provincial areas. See you blokes Sunday for a few yarns and a couple of quiet beers, Kenny from Cranbourne. So Kenny's definitely in, as you mentioned.
Your shout, Ken, by the way.
Your shout, Ken. Pink Diamond, Jace.
Yep.
Are we stating the obvious that Explicit versus Matlock is the race you're most looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we build the Pink Diamond as a great spectacle for Victorian racing, and it is exactly that. But at least from the top echelon point of view, that is the matchup of the night. So those two headline the Pink Diamond Champion Sprinter Final, which is race 8 at Geelong this Friday night. We'll obviously speak more about these on Friday's show. And aside from that, Georgia Champion Distance Final, which is a belter. And we mentioned Lanfranco last Friday and to an extent put cold water on him and going into Saturday night. Great training performances from the Ennises to manage his mental state to get him perform the way he did on Saturday. Straight to the front, and not that he was dominance, but he was good enough to win without any indiscretion.
And it's who he beat too, Jason, ethanol volume. I mean, he's beating quality animals. He broke 39 seconds overall. Alice Babe won the other heat for the Ennis clan, running 39.34. So it gives you an indication of the talent of Lanfranco. I don't think anyone's ever disputed that, is whether he can sort of sustain that. And he has drawn box 8 in the final. Interestingly, for that betting market, Jace, just bringing that up now, Lanfranco is a $3.80 favourite, but ethanol volume, Panama Road are both $4.40, Alice Babe's $5.50, and Ethanol Water is at $4, kept very, very safe. There's also Select Chiron under the double figure odds. So he's certainly not going out as a short price favourite, nor should he be. But that's a great little race. Explicit, understandably, Jace, $1.75 favourite over Matlock, who's $2.60. What a race that's going to be. I reckon they're both drawn probably where they want to be as well. I think they'll get clear running, and we're going to see a matching of motors there. It'll be fantastic.
Be a great night if you want to get along to Geelong this Friday night for all those Pink Diamonds. Going to be a lot happening. The marquee's sold out, so I'm told, but it'll still be a great night if you do want to get along. And on the GRV website at the moment, you can jump on there and get Nathan Rooney's take on some of the races at this Friday night. So make sure you check that out. And of course, we'll speak more about all that this coming Friday. Before we do get to the first at Ballarat, George, we did touch on at the start of the show the Big Freeze event at Hillsville on Sunday, and the manager down there, Peter Frost, did a great job. I mean, we ended up raising over $30,000, which was
huge.
Well and truly in the top 10 of sporting clubs around the state. So great effort from everyone involved.
For a little track like Hillsville to get over $30,000 when they were looking at getting $10,000 is massive. So credit to Peter. He was a great MC on the day, had a bit of a laugh. Everyone, doesn't matter who you were, joined together on the day. It was fantastic. We were as cold as hell, Jace, but it was great. It was so worth it. Cheryl threw in $50 so my son could press the button and dunk me. So I'm going to get Cheryl back at some stage.
Pretty appropriate that Pete's name's Frost.
Yeah, that's right.
The Big Freeze.
He was great. It was great. It was a really, really good day. I really enjoyed it. So a couple of hot chocolates afterwards for Jason. I think you're right.
Cold cans, it was. Hey, John, I don't know if you saw the photo of us, but George was dressed up in his Boston Celtics kit. I was in my Brian Strong kit, and we did get some feedback from our costumes, George, and maybe not the costumes themselves. The only thing missing was fake tan on your legs and some time in the gym. That was the feedback for both of us from Sunday.
Yep, that's probably fair enough. Absolutely, absolutely. We've got the white legs out, mate, but we'll try to colour them up.
It's good that you guys did it.
Very important thing for the club to do, given the improve the sports reputation in local communities cannot be undervalued. So that was Big Freeze at Hillsville on Sunday.
Just a quick one. Best on ground was Barb Backhoy, a vet, obviously, and a member of the Meadows board who came as a greyhound, full life-size greyhound with the full rug and all. And just before the races, she was running up and down the straight. I thought she was fantastic. So best on 3 votes for her. Absolutely.
All right, behind the barriers for the first race at Ballarat, George. Just before we do that, we'll get to your tips for Sandown soon, but in terms of highlights, race 6 and race 9 tomorrow night are rippers. A free-for-all over the 600 metres, which features Zipping Hopkins, and then another free-for-all for the sprinters. Zipping Gorillas Field Day, here comes Jojo, a couple of rippers.
Yeah, some really good races. You'd think Field Day will be hard to beat in that, but a little bit of an early speed battle with Zipping Gorillas drawn in the pink.
All right, we'll get to your tips on the other side of this opening race at Ballarat. Let's get there with Adam Crediton.
Took me by surprise there, Jace.
The
Sorry,
reasons you just identified, and Abaluti's been fairly safe in the market all the way through since markets first opened. It's had a couple of recent jump outs, so you could suggest that she could improve here first up as well. So it was one of the more challenging races on the program to assess. 290 Bubbles Time looks like starting the race favourite though. Barriers have been moved across into position here at the 1400. That doesn't happen until all of the horses have assembled at the start. But they're loading them now. He's a Raider going up into the stalls. And links in. Lost in Paris, who was an acceptor for Mount Gambier today too. So they've chosen to run here. Exceed Success moves in. Sweater Girl to come up, and Say It Zesty is going to be the final one. So the starter heads around for the opening race of the day, the Peter Tobin Funerals Maid, and they go 1400 here. All set for the first. Signals given, and they're underway. And Asterope off the inside jumped as well as any other runner and had the lead initially from He's a Raider. Coming across is Abalutely, and Bubbles Time to settle down in about 4th position. Sweater Girl was next, then Lost in Paris, Kitty Hawk, Say It Zesty, Exceed Succeed is going to be the last one as they gallop to the 1,000 metre point. He's a Raider found the front, led a half length on Abalutely. Bubbles Time in a share of 3rd, one off the fence on the outside of Asterope. Say It Zesty's making a mid-race move, whipping around them quickly, 3 and 4 deep. Gets past Sweater Girl and also Lost in Paris over on the fence. Exceed Succeed, another one tracking into it wider. And last is Kitty Hawk as they head down the side. So Abalutely has gone up to join. He's a Raider in the lead. And popping out 3 wide was Bubbles Time to go up and join them. Say It Zesty a length away. Exceed Succeed is out deeper. Sweater Girl, Kitty Hawk were next from Asterope, and dropping out Lost in Paris. Bubbles Time hit the lead. 400 left to go. She's now going to have to kick for a sustained period to hold off the challengers. Exceed Succeed ran to 2nd. Kitty Hawk, Say It Zesty's run out of puff. Sweater Girl was next. 200 to go. Bubbles Time still holding a length on Exceed Succeed. Kitty Hawk continues to run on, and then Abalutely. It's Bubbles Time in front. Kitty Hawk's cut it back to about a half length, but Bubbles Time in front, and she'll hang on. Bubbles Time, a neck winner over Kitty Hawk. Abalutely ran 3rd, and Exceed Succeed in 4th. They were followed by Sweater Girl, and then a long margin to the rest. Say It Zesty, He's a Raider, Lost in Paris, and last in was Asterope. So the favourite wins. She was left in front much sooner than I'm sure Jayla Kennedy would have preferred. And just from there on, she just had to go for it and hope that the horse would carry her all the way down the straight. And she's been able to do that and hold off Kitty Hawk to score. Abalutely gets into 3rd. Exceed Succeed was one of those early movers in the race, and it just might have caught up with him in the last 100 and runs in 4th. So 6, 7, 4 and 1 are the interims to the first.
6, 7, 4 and 1 after the first, and the first favourite salutes, guys. Jayla Kennedy on board. It'll pay $3.30 and $1.50. Bubbles Time. Number 7, Kitty Hawk at $2. 4, Abalutely at $2.30 and 1 Exceed Success. The Quinellas paid $14. The Exact at $20. The Trifecta $101. And the first 4, race 1 at Ballarat today, $397 for 6, 7, 4 and 1.
And before we get to race 4 at Sale, we'll get to George's tips. Now, I'm finding winners like fishing sinkers at the moment, George, so hopefully I can turn that around, given I don't know the dogs at the moment awfully well at grade 5 level, but working on it, I'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I'll get there.
I like the meeting tomorrow.
Who do you
go
like?
through a few. Just a watch on Valedictorian. This is the young greyhound in the Brad Greeno kennel because I believe it trialled pretty quick there at Sandown, so it'll be interesting to see. That's race 1, number 7. But the ones we're keen on, Jace, race 5, number 4, Werris Bale. I think his win last week was absolutely fantastic at the Meadows. Sorry, not last week, the week before that. 5:12 early. He's got a terrific record, a good PB here, so I think he'll be hard to beat. Race 8, we're going to stick with a greyhound who looked after us last week. Race 7, number 8, Fernando Phil. Again, should jump to the front, finds a race here where he's going to be hard to beat, and I like one later in the program. Race 11, number 1, Always the Sun for Team Ennis. Good win at Geelong against Mapunga Power. Drawn well for the first time in his career, pretty much since debut, so race 11, number 1 to bring us home.
All right, about to be loaded here at Sale for the 4th. The favourite is the 4, Furious Falcon. Race 4, number 4 at $2.90. Let's get the gym on track for the 4th at Sale.
The start, 4:35 the distance. Okay, Jace, grey areas flying along beautifully. Looking forward to getting down to that Pink Diamond Series on Friday night at Geelong. The grand finals, as good a night of greyhound racing as you'll get on the calendar. Looking forward to that. It caters for all. It's going to be a huge night of racing at Geelong. They're just about set sail. Race number 4. Furious Falcon looking to bounce back after 2 luckless runs the last 2 starts. They're set to run. Ready now. Often racing, and Furious Falcon began a lot better today. Parumba Cha-Cha won the start. Furious Falcon cut straight through underneath of him and takes the short way through the corner to lead. So Furious Falcon led by 2 or 3 now to Skywalker Rose, Parumba Cha-Cha, then Jetson Lightning from Alcaraz, well back Ignatius Rose, Vienna Gold, and Tactician can't keep up. It's Furious Falcon leading, a length in front from Skywalker Rose, and Furious Falcon bounces back. Furious Falcon all of the way by about a length at the end of Skywalker Rose. 3 lengths away, third Parumba Cha-Cha, then Jetson Lightning, and they got clear over Ignatius Rose, Alcaraz, and the last few to clock in. Well back there, Tactician has trailed the field home, and Vienna Gold back toward the tail, 24 and 50, and Furious Falcon bounces back. Number 4, Brian Alford at Yarram was able to zip through underneath of the initial leader, Parumba Cha-Cha, showed a really good turn of pace to take over. And after burning to the front, has come away to win and win it pretty easily. Number 4 will beat 7 seconds. Skywalker Rose, 2 Parumba Cha-Cha will be third. And the 4th number to come after race number 4. It's got a strong chance of racking up a training double. You would have thought Brian Alford, he trains fantastic Zohan, who goes around in race 9, will be one of the shortest price favourites of the day. So the winner here, number 4, Furious Falcon, around that 271.30 mark. We're just awaiting some totes and more. 24 and 51 was the time. We'll have more in just a moment to wrap up race number 4 at Sale. Well back favourite home.
Okay, James, thank you. So 472 so far, guys.
Thank you, John. And before we do wrap up grey areas, we've got a staple of the show, which we're getting to now. When we need a stinger for this, it is the Ferrugia Files. Now, not a lot to go through over the next couple of days, George, but some very important ones. Let's get to the Meadows tonight. And importantly, a first starter, race 1, number 4, Pax Bostonia.
Yeah, a slow beginner. Goes okay, but... yeah, I don't know where he's going to be on that first corner. I think he's second favourite. So can run a little bit, but yeah, I'd rather watch.
All right. Still at the Meadows tonight, the last for the Sean Cosgrove fans out there. Race 12, number 8, Honey Bunny.
Look, it's not the hardest race in the world, to be honest, and she's got a PB of around 30-20 there, I think. So if she can run up to that, she'd be certainly top 3.
Sandown tomorrow night, race 3, number 4, Vital Step.
Well, I tipped him last week and he got beaten a nose. Just needs clear running early. Certainly capable of winning.
Certainly beaten last week, mate. Certainly beaten.
He was.
Race 9, number 4, Mackinaw Peach at Sandown tomorrow.
Tough race. She's against Field Day and Zipping Grillis and that. But she does have a bit of early speed, so a top 3 finish probably.
And then Q2 Parklands tomorrow night. Race 4, number 6, Van Wyck, with the biggest challenge that any greyhound has in Australia tomorrow.
Yeah, look, he trialled 29.65, which is a good run. And before you told me, I didn't even know he was in because the notification didn't come through. I knew he'd be in the next couple of weeks, but how are you going to beat Deadly Avenger?
That's when you know you own too many good dogs.
No, seriously, the notification didn't
races.
come in. He's got Deadly Avenger in 1 and Gambella off the 8. How about that for a couple of wings?
No hope. All right, we'll be back on Friday. It is Pink Diamond Day, Friday night, in front of the big show, and maybe an in-depth preview of our social club gig at the Mail Exchange this Sunday, kicking off from midday. But until then, farewell.
Good on you guys. I'll clear those dividends at sale for you from the other studio when I swap over. It's 4, 7, 2 and 6. And don't forget when we go back, it's the first leg of the quaddie with James Vandermart.
To hear all of today's Australian racing, listen to RSN Extra. That's on digital radio in Melbourne, on the RSN app and streaming at rsn.net.au.
Hong Kong is racing tonight. That's right, they're racing tonight at Happy Valley. You can follow the star Aussie trainers and riders like David Hayes. And if you bet on Hong Kong with the tab, you're diving into Hong Kong's massive world pools, known for stable odds and smoother payouts. Catch all the action on Sky Racing and streaming services. Hong Kong racing tonight. Presented by Hong Kong Jockey Club. Is this a bet you really want to make? For free and confidential support, visit gamblershelp.com.au.
Every year, we help thousands of people like you control their gambling. So, we get that every story is different. We get there might be setbacks along the way. We get that you might need lots of support, or just the odd call. To change the way you think about gambling, call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help on 1800 858 858 or visit the Gamblers Help website.
At Sportsbet, we salute those who have a crack, like local footy coach Terry, who's simplifying game day tactics.
Now let's get out there and score more goals!
Yeah, that's a pretty good point.
That was easy. Just like when Terry wants to have a crack at an AFL same-game multi, he uses the Sportsbet app. Sportsbet, proud supporters of having a crack. Conditions apply.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
On the Friday form, Dino's Sportsbet Multi. Your chance to win thanks to Sportsbet. If you're a Victorian resident, register your entry now on the competitions page at rsn.net.au. Each Friday morning, we'll draw out one contestant and Mark Hunter will create a Sportsbet Multi for that player. Remembering the great Dean Lester with Dino's Sportsbet Multi. So get your entry in now at rsn.net.au.